Hello everyone, happy Friday and welcome to another edition of Moments with MindLeaps. My name is Rebecca, I'm the founder and executive director of MindLeaps, and we gather together every Friday on this platform to have conversations with really inspiring people all around the world. And we are so excited today to be joined by Tanja Raic Tarcuki. Tanja is my longtime dear friend, but she more importantly holds the title of former country director for MindLeaps in Bosnia-Herzegovina. And now she's done tremendous things all around the world. She's currently doing consulting in a number of different areas while completing her PhD at the University of Zagreb. And she has a long history in community work, in communications work, and developing different sectors of the Balkans economy. So we are thrilled to have her here, and I see a whole bunch of our friends. Let me join her in. And she's joining all the way today from Bosnia and Mostar, which is one of the most beautiful cities in the entire world. And we're happy to see Shpetim here. I hope the ice skating went well today in Skopje with all of our friends from North Macedonia. Hello.
I managed to turn it on.
Thank you so much for joining us. Everybody from the Balkans has already joined.
Wow.
Your appearance was well anticipated.
I'm so happy to be here and see all these people. Hi everybody. Hi Martin. I only see Martin so far. Okay,
Martin is here, Bashir is here, Shpetim is here, Hannah from Scotland is here.
Hello everybody.
I'm going to start by apologizing to Shpetim, the good friend of Tanja and me, because I mixed up my Bosnian and my Russian recently. And I said kaktila when I should have said kakosi. So, Tanja, that means that I have not spent enough time with you in Mostar lately.
Definitely, and it's shame on me because as I recall, I was your first Croatian, Bosnian, Serbian language teacher, and obviously I failed. You forget everything.
Well, thank you, Tanja, but I think it was more the failure of the student than the teacher. Okay, Tanja, start off by sharing with everyone a little bit about Mostar, which is just, I mean, Skopje is beautiful, but Mostar is even more beautiful. Tell people, what is Mostar? What makes it so special?
I agree. Mostar is most beautiful city in the world. Yeah, Bashir. Bashir agrees. It's based in Bosnia and Herzegovina in southeastern Europe. It has Mediterranean climate, which is perfect, and there is anything most important to say about Mostar is that we are full of sun almost all year long. So it's, yeah, definitely everybody who is watching should come because it's definitely the most beautiful city in the world.
Yeah, it's so beautiful that we have to find a reason to start another MindLeaps program there.
Definitely time to do so again.
So Tanja, I remember the first time that I met you, you were running an organization called Ringo in Mostar. And I was just like so many programs, even Jesse, who's with us. Jesse and I have been meeting so many different organizations in New York. Tanja and I did exactly the same thing in Bosnia-Herzegovina. We just kept meeting all these different organizations. And I remember meeting you, Tanja, and your work with Ringo. And I left that meeting thinking, wow, like here's this young woman who has so many skills, who is so focused on the future of youth. And I was so struck by your ability to like articulate such a big vision and execute it. Like, tell us, like, how did Ringo come about? How were you able to think like that so early on in your professional career?
Oof, yeah. Ringo still exists and is active, not as active as 10 or 15 years ago when we started it, but it's really a good and fun organization, mainly focusing on humanitarian work. And basically, a group of my friends got together and figured out that we just don't have a job experience and that nobody is giving us a chance to try to do anything, and we were full of ideas with sports, dance, education activities, things like that. So we had to organize our own NGO in order to do so. And 15 years later, it's still alive, active, and we are, even though spread across the world now, the main core team, but still we are still keeping in touch and really often together and continuing to share ideas and things like that. Yeah.
And what you say is like so much of what I mean, I guess it's a problem everywhere in the world, but I hear it talked about especially in the Balkans when people say like, here are these like talented youth who are graduating with university degrees. Everybody speaks English perfectly, but it's like impossible to really get experience and get into the job market. Is that something that you think is specific to the Balkans or specific to certain cities? Because we hear it so many times when we're in the Balkans.
This is really good segue for me to ask our audience, because it's all over the world, as I can see here. Please write in the comments, what do you think about what is the correct answer for your country where you are based or living or working or have any experience with. In my opinion, that's the same everywhere in the world, maybe more so on the Balkans or Europe even, but Balkans, especially North Macedonia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Croatia. All of that is still not at the level that it should and could be in terms of giving youth opportunities to grow, develop, and immerse themselves in all of the ideas that I'm sure, and I'm witnessing that every day, that they are full of ideas. They just need incentive and encouragement and empowerment to do so. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, our audience will not be surprised that you're being asked to actively participate, because one of Tanya's many degrees is in communications. So I think you've tipped your hat, Tanja, in telling everybody one of the things you're so good at, which is getting people involved and active, engaged. Tell us a little bit about why you decided to do this PhD. How did you choose University of Zagreb? How difficult is it?
That last question is really painful because it is really difficult, and it's really challenging for me, because my entire life I've been juggling between academic and scientific work and creative and fun, non-formal education, sports, dance, and things like that. So I still struggle to mingle those two, even though it's perfect recipe to use both in everything that we do. So it's really hard, especially for me, because I lost confidence probably in myself, because it was 10-year gap between my master's degree and me enrolling in PhD. So I was like, yeah, the correct way to put it is I lost courage in myself, where MindLeaps and other organizations that I work with came really beautifully in order to empower me and prove to me yet again, because all of us need reminding of what we are capable of and what we can do. So I'm using even MindLeaps and other organizations and drawing from that experience in order to help my PhD journey. So it's, yeah.
Tanja, imagine what it's going to be like for me, because I have not started my PhD yet, and I'm older than you. So if you're complaining that it was 10 years between your master's and your PhD, I can't imagine how difficult it's going to be for me when I finally listen to my mother and sign up to do my PhD.
You should always listen to your mother. But it's not difficult in terms of going back to the school. It's really good idea to have a gap between master's and PhD, to have real life experience, real field work and things like that. The only issue for me personally was empowerment and confidence and things like that. So it's I don't think that you will have same issue as that. Or even though if you do have, I'm sure that MindLeaps family will stand behind you and find a way to encourage you every step of the way. So do so.
You're joining my mom's group. Well, Tanya, when you're ready for the dissertation, get ready because all of MindLeaps is going to gather in the Balkans and do a MindLeaps dance class for you before you have to defend.
That could be, or that will be really good party. I'm counting on it.
Well, Tanya, one of the many things that you did during this gap is you, of course, helped us build out our program in the Balkans, moving from Bosnia-Herzegovina, now in Macedonia. You also worked with Caritas. For those of you who don't know, it's a gigantic NGO working worldwide on some of the most important issues. And then we stole you away from that to help us rebuild our program when we started in North Macedonia and in Skopje. You've met the youth, you've participated, you've taught the communications class. Tell us a little bit about what the experience was like for you in North Macedonia, but this time with the MindLeaps hat.
It always amazed me how much I learned from experience like that, especially in North Macedonia and in Rwanda, since it was like almost in the same time, and afterwards with virtual communication class, they were even meshed together. So both youth groups were really teaching me a lot of about life and even about communication, even though I'm there to teach them about it. But it's definitely both way or two-way streets, and it's always something that amazes me and managed to surprise me, even though I expected now after all these years of experience, but it always take it a notch above, and youth in North Macedonia and Rwanda are really beautiful, empowered people who just need their voice to be heard. So it's, yeah, and they, especially, I'm not sure, are they probably not watching now, but they will, I hope, in a replay. They are now ice skating, aren't they? And we are not part of that. That's so bad of them. So I'm just stop.
That's what I said to you, Tanya. It's like somehow you stay the most updated on MindLeaps than even staff who work for us. Yes, you're quite right. Right now, the MindLeaps Youth Alumni Network in Skopje, North Macedonia is ice skating. That is 100% correct.
I have sensors for the fun activities that are being done without me, so it's I'm always trying to find a way. Even with Jesse Hutz, when we talked today, it's been 10 years that he and I were together live in person, and it's definitely time for both of you and Bashir and basically everybody to come to Mostar and hopefully celebrate my PhD.
Absolutely. Just give us a couple weeks notice on when the defense is happening, and we'll get our flights, and hopefully COVID will be okay. Tanya, we're talking about it as if it's a joke, but it's actually something that you've taught me and that I've learned a lot from all this time is...
Yes, Jessie. Sorry, I'm commenting. Keep comments coming, and hearts are doing really amazing job in helping me relax and stay awake since it's late here.
Well, I'm sure you don't need to relax, Tanya. You're one of the people who has the best interviewing skills I've ever seen, but maybe staying awake is definitely the case since we are keeping you up late for this interview.
This best interview skill is because I just interrupted you.
Now we're going to be completely lost, Tanya. Now Jesse's rerouting his travel schedule so he can do Mauritania and Mostar together.
And then you can pick up Martin, Marta, and all the group, Innocent, Eugene, Bashir, Olivier, Joseph, everybody from all the African countries that you work in.
And then we're all going to finish at Team's house. But one of the things that we're joking about, but actually you've taught it to me, and Shpet team is reinforcing it to me, is that the social time that we spend with youth is really important. In America, we really like to do like programs. We really like to do something that starts and stops, and it has like minutes for every meeting, and it's very, very structured. And all of the time I've spent in the Balkans and learning about the culture and spending time with people like you, as well as the youth, you've really shown me that a lot of the relationships, a lot of the understanding, a lot of the influence that gets built is really on the ice skating rink or in a totally different environment than what we think of in America. Is that like, why is that? And what do you think of our culture, which is so not like that?
Yeah, it's a shame that you are not like that. United States definitely needs to taste and feel how rewarding that kind of even serious topics can be opened and discussed more honestly in an environment like ice skating, or even something maybe a little less active. So basically we are trying to use and utilize any physical activity that it's fun, and use that energy to sit afterwards in over coffee or something in a group setting to open those often difficult topics and make people feel comfortable and sharing and opening up to people and receiving, which is really hard thing to learn, receiving help and support from others. We tend to close up. So that's, in my experience, that's the best way to do so. So if something better is available, please suggest it to me. Again, the audience, live or in the replay, I really would like to steal your ideas about it. But in my experience, the mixing non-formal and fun activities with serious topics and to break through the barriers in our heads and hearts is the best way, which is something that United States youth should feel and experience.
It's really true. It's so opposite from the culture here. And it's even when I'm in the Balkans with all of you, it takes me time to like adjust. And all of you are like, come on, Rebecca, let's get going. Let's understand what's happening here. But it's something that would be so good for youth around the world to understand the value of that. And Tanja, if I remember correctly, I think you've recently been in Portugal. Was it Portugal? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So I know a lot of what you're doing now is you're working with different groups, doing consulting and doing training. Now, like often also in American culture, kind of when we say training, everyone thinks like you signed up for an online course or something like that. But like the training that you do is changing government officials, changing systems. Tell us a little bit about the work that you did in Portugal and more generally.
That fun and really serious activity in Portugal was with the CAICI, the organizations on topics of inter-religious and international dialogue and combating hate speech and things like that. Yeah. Of course, my specific track working with people in Portugal was again education, both formal and non-formal. And that is one of the tasks that I really enjoy and do all over the world, which is really fun to see different contexts, these different groups of people and experiences, and especially now in very challenging times, how people cope and what kind of creative energy is this troubling time bringing out of people. So it's really good to do. So next, for example, today I've been starting the project with Sweden, Germany, Serbia, Greece, and Croatia and Bosnia-Herzegovina. Again, on non-formal education. It's a project called There. You will be hearing about that soon. Today was kickoff, even unofficial kickoff. The official one will be in the next month. So I will talk about it maybe next time or some other opportunity. But definitely there are many projects all over the world that are really good and giving people a positive outlook on this situation, and hope and empowering activities that is definitely needed for first me and probably everybody else here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that you know as well as our audience that this idea of hate speech has also in the last few years become really significant in the United States. And one of the, I mean, you probably remember, Tanya, at one point I was working for the Carter Center, and the Carter Center was fighting against hate speech and related issues around the world. And recently I reconnected with my former boss, and he told me that all of the work they're doing right now around hate speech is in the United States.
Oh.
So, yeah, it's like like a wake-up call that it's such an international issue and really, really serious right now. Yeah. What is one of the most surprising things that you've either seen or has happened when you've been working with people who are like really like high up in kind of the systems and the structures around these issues? What's something that really stands out to you?
Even though I'm working with those kinds of people for over a decade now, I still have prejudice that they are pushing their own agendas or their own advancing their own career over working really what matters. And I'm happy to say that in the last couple of years, I'm almost regularly surprised, and my prejudices had been debunked, that people really do care and really have positive outlook on what we are doing here, and they are trying to really help and change this world and create new normal that is better than it was before pandemic. So it's, yeah, that surprises me the most. And I'm happy to be proven wrong in terms of my prejudices.
Well, you know, I hold the same prejudice, and I only now am questioning it because I really trust you, Tanya. So I've never met any of those people, but if you say it's true, now I'm kind of thinking it might be true.
I hope that it's not that just that I'm lucky recently to be in those kinds of groups, but in terms of what I'm seeing lately, it's definitely really positive. So hopefully it's not isolated group of set of organizations that are working really positively.
You're working in so many different places all around the world, Tanya. I think if you say it's the case, it's the case. You'll have to come visit the new course right now for MindLeaps North Macedonia in our virtual academy, because Shpetim is teaching about fake news.
Wow, that's definitely needed and important for all of us. Yeah. Who is there?
Everyone. Everyone and new people. So it really is time for you to visit.
Okay. I'm trying to see who is there. Is there? I'm trying to see now on a live. I don't see everybody. Besa, Cristiana, Vesna, Aikuna, Meleg, Omer, Emir, Besnik.
Wow.
Shout out for all of them. If some of you are not in Shpetim's class, you need to enroll now, because I need to see all of you when I visit.
Oh, Tanya, we're going to recruit you to recruit for everything forever.
Shame people if they're not enrolled in the classes. That's very effective. Yeah, Bashir Omer is ready.
Tanya, so like, we certainly can't cover everything you've done in your career in one interview. But tell me a little bit, or share with me a little bit of insight into where you see yourself going in the next 5 or 10 years. Whenever I talk to you, you are always doing like 5,000 fascinating things. What is a little bit of the glimpse into the future of Tanya?
I'm not sure, should I say this too bluntly, but even though my trajectory in career was really fun and really good when I look back, but it's all pure just chance. It wasn't planned, even though it looks like it when you look back in my CV or whatever, my portfolio. So I think that I'm gonna stick with that strategy that put me here today, that I'm really fulfilled and happy with what I do. And I managed to do so by following my heart and focusing on learning every day. really actively focusing on doing so with meeting either through education that I do and learning from my students, or meeting people wherever, or even informal education, which means teaching myself whatever through through any kind of now normally virtual assets that we have. So basically, yeah, that's my plan, to continue follow my heart and continue learn every day actively. And so because of that, I'm not sure that I can predict where will I be in the future. But for today, I'm really happy being a consultant and coach, and happy with people that I surround myself with. So it's, yeah, that's my goal. I don't have any too grandiose goals.
Well, having known you for, let's see, 11 years? 12 years? 12. 12. Having known you for 12 years, Tanja, I can say actually, like, everything you say right now are really the words that you live by. Even in that first meeting when you were just walking in telling me about this NGO that you ran, it was clear that you're somebody who really seeks knowledge and seeks to be surrounded by people who are positive thinkers about the future. And if one day we can give that label to everybody in the world, we'll be in a happy world. Tanja, thank you so much for spending time with us today. More than anything else, it's an awesome excuse to spend time with one of the people that makes me so happy. Thank you for all you've done for MindLeaps. Thank you for the work that you're doing on some of these really serious issues around the world. And please let us do a dance party when you graduate with your PhD.
Definitely. Thank you for everything, and just shout out to the to our audience, and especially you on the replay. I will definitely read all the comments underneath of this, and feel free to DM me or any way connect, because I'm definitely eager to meet as many of you and see as many of you. Some of you I haven't heard in a while, so it's definitely due to connect again and to learn from all of you.
Well, you heard it, everyone. She gave you the offer that you can DM her, and from there you're going to have an awesome friend. So I can only second what she said.
Just a big shout out to Bashir, Martin, and Avni, who I see here. Avni is not obviously ice skating in the Skopje. Thank you for being here, all of you.
We will say Falan Falamderi to our friends in North Macedonia. We will say Marikosi to our friends in Rwanda, but more importantly, we will say Havala Lipo to you, Tanja. Okay, thank you. Thanks everybody for joining us.